This podcast is an invitation to feel and experience the souls of famous old Hollywood homes and to have an in-depth journey to the areas where they're located through interviews with longtime residents. Either you're a fan of old Hollywood in Los Angeles, planning to have a vacation, or, an even bigger step, considering a certain area for your future home. This is your opportunity to receive valuable information and insightful advice you won't find anywhere else.
Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Are you in the mood for California? Today, we'll explore and feel Oxnard, followed by an interview with wonderful Carolyn Mullin, who works as the executive director at the Oxnard Performing Arts and Convention Center. Carolyn will share with us what Oxnard is all about.
It's a big place for surfing. So there's Silver Strand Beach. And so there's kind of that culture going on. And if you get towards like downtown Oxnard, it's very working class, very representative of the community. There's little bodegas and little Mexican restaurants all over the place. And downtown, I love downtown. I work pretty close to downtown. But it's the hub for culture.
Masha Korpacheva is a California-based realtor and a member of the National Association of Realtors in Los Angeles. She's an advocate for selling and buying homes with soul and practicing mindfulness in real estate. With master's degrees in spiritual psychology and linguistics, Masha brings all of her skills to work with her clients. An intuit and empath, she has touched many lives with her outstanding ability to see beyond the visible and helping to come to better understanding of issues and their resolutions. An adventurous world traveler, from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania to exploring the Galapagos Islands, Masha has a particular passion for the City of Angels. Having landed in this paradise and adopted it as her home, she's been sharing old Hollywood stories since 2007. In the mood for California, feel the soul of old Hollywood.
And now, are you ready to feel the soul of Oxnard? Located in the heart of California's Ventura County, Oxnard is a city that holds a special place in the history and hearts of those who have been fortunate enough to call it home or visit it over the years. This agricultural powerhouse, known as Strawberry Capital of California, has undergone many changes throughout its history, yet has managed to retain its unique charm and character. In the late 1800s, Henry T. Oxnard, along with his brothers, founded the American Beet Sugar Company, which was one of the largest sugar beet factories in the United States. They established the factory in the fertile lands of what is now Oxnard, California, where they could grow large quantities of sugar beets. It fueled the local economy by providing jobs for thousands of workers, and the city started growing rapidly. Henry T. Oxnard intended to name it after the Greek word for sugar, Zachary, but it was harder for him to communicate his desires to the state bureaucrats than become the largest sugar producer. In the end, he gave up, and on June 30th, 1903, the city of Oxnard was named after the Oxnard brothers, Robert, Benjamin, Henry T., and James Oxnard, who played an integral role in putting this coastal town on the map. 40,000 acres of sugar beets were grown in Ventura County from 1899 to 1959. On the site north of Woolley Road and east of Oxnard Boulevard, Henry T. Oxnard built the 2 million sugar beet factory, which could process 2,000 tons of beads daily. At the time, the factory sent out close to 40 million 100-pound bags of granulated sugar. The booming sugar beet business attracted migrant workers to the rich fields of the Oxnard Plain and helped to boost the town's economy and population. The remnants of Oxnard's first family ranch homes still exist at Heritage Square in downtown Oxnard, offering a unique and delightful experience of Victorian-era architecture, while historic farm equipment and buildings can be found at Oxnard Historic Farm Park. And then this culturally authentic and vibrant with panorama perfect pristine golden duned beaches city was discovered by Hollywood. It was in Oxnard that in 1921 Paramount Studios chose sprawling coastline as the best drapery for the Egyptian desert where The Sheikh with Rudolph Valentino was filmed, becoming one of the most remarkable movies of its time. This Hollywood connection was enough for real estate developers to first start dipping their toes in the water before fully plunging into the capitalization on the connection. Very soon, the dunes were leveled, individual lots were carved, and the site was christened Hollywood by the Sea. Locals would recall Charlie Chaplin and Greta Garbo vacationing there, as well as Clark Gable supposedly living in at least 2 houses on the beach. Oxnard also became synonymous with fishing sport for John Wayne, who frequented the city for rest and relaxation. Visitors could either buy their own housing lot for a vacation home, camp on the beach, or stay in a 40-room hotel. The first 4th of July at Hollywood by the Sea in 1927 drew a crowd of several thousand people. Today, Oxnard remains a city that celebrates its past while looking forward to its future with a unique blend of history and culture preserved in its many museums, historic landmarks, and cultural events. It's a meeting place of the beauty of nature with the excitement of modern and affordable living. Even if it's just a stop along your journey, it can leave a lasting impression on you if you allow it. And here we are. Welcome to Oxnard. I'm so excited to have Carolyn Mullin here with me. A Miami native of Mexican-American descent, Carolyn Merino Mullin has 20 years worth of experience in the nonprofit sector. Her work has been featured in the LA and New York Times, Washington Post, Chicago Tribune, NPR, LA Weekly, Huffington Post, Bark Magazine, New Scientist, Artillery Magazine, Psychology Today, LA TV, such as CBS, Fox, ABC, and dozens of other media outlets. Carolyn has been with the Oxnard Performing Arts and Convention Center since 2017. Originally brought on to spearhead the center's programming, she assumed the role of executive director during the height of city budget cuts, layoffs, and proposed closure of the center. Prior to working in Ventura County, Carolyn founded and then opened in 2013 the Animal Museum in Los Angeles, the world's first museum dedicated to exploring the human-animal bond with a dual focus on animal protection and human-animal studies. In Santa Barbara, she served as the associate director for Casa Dolores, Center for the Study of the Popular Arts of Mexico. Carolyn earned her bachelor's in religion studies with a focus in religious and nature from the University of Florida and a master's in nonprofit management from Regis University in Denver, Colorado. She's a contributing author to The Art of the Animal, Mourning Animals, Defiant Daughters, and Why Dogs Hump and Bees Get Depressed, a recipient of the Belton Murrah's Grassroots Leadership Award. Mullin continues her welfare work for animals as a board member for My Dog is My Home, a national organization striving to keep individuals experiencing homelessness and their pets together. Carolyn will share with us what Oxnard feels like as a city. Hello, Carolyn.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm caffeinated and ready for our conversation. How about you?
That's perfect. I'm also ready for our conversation as never before and very excited to talk to you about Oxnard.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course. Thank you so much for agreeing. And, I'm sure not that many people who do not live in California know about Oxnard. And it's a city 35 south of Santa Barbara. And it's really known for its rich diversity and culture.
It is. It's incredibly diverse. The population's about 210,000 people, and about 75% of that are Latinos. So we have great Mexican food, if you love that. And then another 10% are considered BIPOC, right? Black, Indigenous, people of color.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very unique population here of about 20,000 farm workers who are indigenous to Oaxaca, Mexico. And Oaxaca is known for its incredible mole, its incredible crafts. So it's neat to have that little pocket of population, this little microscopic population from Oaxaca that brings such a unique blend to our city's fabric. We also have a big population of Filipinos. So it's really a very cool place to live and work.
Yes, it does sound like it. Wonderful. So how would you actually describe in maybe in a few words Oxnard to someone who has never been there, and particularly as to what feelings does this area exude?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Oxnard is kind of halfway between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara. It's on the coast. So as soon as you get off from Malibu on the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, you hit Oxnard. And most people kind of just drive through it on their way to Santa Barbara, but it really has so much to offer. So it goes all the way from the coast. So we have beaches and just amazing views of the Channel Islands, which is a national park here in California. And it goes even just past the 101. So if you know Southern California, that's kind of inland. So it's everything in between, right up until you get to the mountains. So I love this area. You have everything at your fingertips. You have beaches, you have farms, you have mountains. We are in this area that's known as the Oxnard Plain. So it's very flat, which is great for biking and marathon running. Every Christmas, there's a marathon called Santa to the Sea. So super fun for people who don't like running up hills. But it's just beautiful. It really, really is. And it's very diverse. There's a local celebrity named Anderson .Paak who really put Oxnard on the map nationally. He was produced by Dr. Dre. I hosted his Oxnard album release party where I work, which is the Oxnard Performing Arts Center. So he brought that to the national stage. And, it was amazing to see Jimmy Fallon having Anderson .Paak perform on his late night show. And Oxnard is, there in big letters. So I feel like Oxnard has been a secret, but it's getting out there. And it's really one of the last affordable communities, I would say, on the coast in California. But that's changing, and it's changing quick.
Yes, I cannot agree with you more. Like if anybody wants to live close to the ocean and they cannot afford anywhere like around Los Angeles area, like Santa Monica or Venice, or of course Malibu, then, once you get to Oxnard, you can still find like a really nice home at the beach.
Yeah, and it's a big place for surfing. So there's Silver Strand Beach. And so there's kind of that culture going on. And if you get get towards like downtown Oxnard, it's very working class, very representative of the community. There's little bodegas and little Mexican restaurants all over the place. And downtown, I love downtown. I work pretty close to downtown. But it's the hub for culture. We have the Salsa Festival every year, which brings in hundreds of thousands of people from around the area. We have this beautiful Christmas parade, and downtown just glows. I mean, it just transforms. And there's a historic district in downtown with these gorgeous craftsman homes. And they go all out. It transforms into what they call Candy Cane Lane. So people just walk up and down the streets looking at all the lights and the homes. And so it's really magical. I mean, this is a community that cares, and you can tell.
Oh, what a beautiful description. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Like, I really feel the essence of Oxnard through the words that you just used to talk about it. It's beautiful. Thank you. Well, you did mention that you were close to downtown, and as far as I know, you're the executive director at Oxnard Performing Arts Center. So
Yes.
it sounds magical in and of itself. So could you please tell us more about the center and what role it plays in the community?
Yeah, I spend all my time here. I love it here. The Performing Arts Center was built in 1968. It's this remarkable mid-century modern complex, and one of the few remaining examples of the architect who designed this place. And of course, I never remember his name. I really need to work on that. But it's one of his last examples of a mid-century modern center. And he did the convention center in Las Vegas. He designed another convention center in, I think, in Honolulu, Hawaii. Both of those have been torn down. So really, it's kind of a step back in time. And so you see all those angular designs, and it's just really, it's beautiful. I hope you come up and see it one day. But we have a 1,600 seat theater. When it was built, it was the only performing arts center in Ventura County. Since then, Thousand Oaks has opened up a very beautiful facility as well. But it took the whole community rallying together and donating to construct this. And we have this amazing community center on site. It was rebranded in the 90s as a convention center, but it really has continued to serve the needs of the community. We do 1,500 events a year and welcome about 350,000 people through our doors.
Wow,
And
that's impressive.
it is. And it's for everything. I mean, we have concerts and comedy, but we also are here for weddings and quinceañeras, town hall meetings, conventions, graduations. So there's a lot of buzz. And my nonprofit, we're in charge of not only raising money for the center, but also bringing really great community programming to the table. So we have arts programs for youth and teens and adults, and we do dance classes. So there's a little bit of something for everyone. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. So how would you say it affected the quality of your life when you started working at the center?
Yeah. I think it's been really great. I used to live in LA and make this crazy commute every day. And now my commute is 10 minutes by car. I could ride my bike to work, which I do
That's the
sometimes.
best.
Oh, it really is. And we have the most amazing weather. So I'm lucky that we have all these old trees on campus. So it's very beautiful and scenic. We have these, I don't even know what type of owls they are, but we have resident owls that hang out, and I can hear the birds singing throughout the day. So, I mean, on a day-to-day living, it's great. I don't have to be in a cubicle. I get to interact with a bunch of different people who come through the complex, and that's really cool. And it's great to see the kids making art and just being creative and letting loose. And I think coming out of COVID, it's been so important. I know everyone is obsessed with, meeting online and this and that, but there's something so magical about bringing people together in person.
Yes.
And you see that synergy. And I think for the kids in particular, I joke that they're socially awkward coming out of COVID, especially the teens. Yeah, it's a big thing, So I think the programs that we do are really vital. It's not just about the arts, but it's about community, creativity, and just the whole health of a person.
Yes, you know what? It sounds like your work and your life, because it's almost the same thing, because you spend so much work.
Yeah, there is no dividing line.
Yes, yes. But it sounds like it is so fulfilling for you at the place where you're at right now, because you really serve the community, bringing everybody together and making sure everything operates smoothly. And also, your own style of life has gotten so much better because you can, as you said, ride the bike to your work, and that's magical in and of itself.
Yeah. I am very lucky, very, very lucky.
Wow, you're a lucky and a happy person to do what you're doing. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
So you did mention that you live just a few miles away from Oxnard, and as far as I know, it's in Ventura. And in what way do you think Oxnard is different from Ventura, the city of Ventura?
Yeah, there are differences. I moved to Ventura. I will be brutally honest. An ex-boyfriend is from Ventura. So that's how I found Ventura. And I didn't hear good things about Oxnard, right? I heard, it's like, there's a divide, right? That's
Right.
them, this is us. And I didn't know any better. And so when I bought my house, I knew Ventura. I was comfortable in Ventura, but had I known more about Oxnard, I might have seriously considered moving to Oxnard. But really it's 5 minutes. There's a tiny little creek that divides the two of them. They're really, they're so close. But Ventura, I want to say the city is a little more well off. Downtown has got its act together. During the pandemic, they closed off the main street in downtown. So downtown feels like a little like Disney World in a sense. Everyone's just in the streets and shopping and eating. And, now I feel like I'm in an episode of Gilmore Girls. I don't know if you watch Gilmore Girls, but you know how like their town square has all those random troubadours playing music?
Yes.
It's like that. I love it. There's a guy on a harmonica and another guy on a guitar. And so it's got a great vibe to it. And it's so close to the beach too, which helps. And the fairgrounds are near there. So, and Ventura is known for its surfer culture. And I love Ventura. It's great, but I also like Oxnard. But Oxnard, I feel, is more working class. The farm workers, and Ventura County itself is very agricultural. It's probably one of our biggest economies. The other big economy is we have a couple of naval bases in town. So I think between the two of them, those are some of the strongest employers. But those farm workers have to live somewhere. And Oxnard, if you are a farm worker coming from Mexico to this country, Oxnard is a household name. You just know that if you go to Oxnard, there are going to be resources there for you and a community and culture. And that's so beautiful. Like if you ever come to our Christmas parade, there's people dressed up, in their traditional garb, dancing. And where else do you find that? So I think it's really, really special. So I think those are kind of the big differences. And Oxnard, I love this community, but it has its challenges too. The city has had financial woes, and the Performing Arts Center almost closed in 2019 because the city could not afford to keep up with it. So we've had to go through some big reimagining and reinvention to figure out how to make this work, but we're figuring it out. But I would say those are the big differences.
I can see that, yes. Well, I'm so glad that the center survived because I'm sure it plays a huge role in the community from what you described. And it is really important to keep it going because there is nothing more important, I think, for the community as culture.
Definitely.
For sure. So you did mention that you have a home in Ventura. And I have a few questions about your home and what it means to you. So what would you say is the heart of your home?
The heart of my home I think has to be the outdoors. My neighborhood, it was until about 10 years unincorporated. So the city of Ventura, I don't know, what is the word? Anyways, sucked it up into the city limits about 10 years ago. But it was, I think, agricultural land that got turned into suburbs in the 50s. But I have a huge lot. It's like 7,000 square feet. I think it's pretty big for California. Like, especially think about like Santa Monica, right? Everyone has tiny little yards. And I think also the new trend in housing, it's big house, teeny tiny little backyard. But for me, that's my place to rejuvenate. I have an old orange tree and a clementine tree and fig trees. And Rafael, my partner, has his little Mexican garden, and then we have a secret garden. So there's all these little spaces in our home for us to hang out. We have a dedicated bird garden where the dogs can't go. So we have a lot of wildlife that visits us. And really we enjoy spending time reading out there, having dinner on the patio, things like that. So that, I want to say, is the heart of our home. And anywhere in our home, you can just look out onto the garden too. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's why I bought the home. Yeah.
So when you were looking for your new home, you probably did pay attention to the outdoors, like how big the yard was, right?
Yeah. And, I feel like that is kind of housing on the coast in general. There's smaller homes. So it's kind of a trade-off. But yeah, I mean, we spend so much time outdoors, and I think with the way we work, or, I still have an office, even though I look out, onto trees and whatnot. It's like, you're still inside. So on the weekends, what do I want to do? I want to be outside. I want to be hiking. I want to be at the beach. But when I'm home, it's another way to have the outdoors very close to you.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. California climate is the biggest blessing for all of us, so that we can spend so much time outside, for sure. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this information. And I have a few blitz questions actually about Oxnard, because you do spend most of your time in that city. So I would like to find out about your favorite places in Oxnard.
Okay, sure.
So what is your favorite store in Oxnard?
That is a good question, and I am struggling to answer it. There's two that I really like. One is a Oaxacan grocery store. So it's where you go and find all these imported products from Oaxaca, Mexico. So like the mole and the chocolate for hot chocolate, and they have handmade crafts. And of course, I can't remember the name, but it's on the boulevard. And I can text it to you later if you want to mention it later.
That's great.
Yeah.
You did mention that you're caffeinated before the interview, so I assume you like coffee.
Oh, I love coffee. Yeah, it's an addiction. It's a problem.
So what is your favorite coffee place in Oxnard?
There's two in downtown that vie for my attention. One is called Cielo, and I'll go there for an iced café de olla, which is a type of Mexican coffee with cinnamon or piloncillo. The other place that I am obsessed with their oat milk lattes is called Heritage Coffee. And it's a family-owned business out of this really charming historic site called Heritage Square. And this was a property that was developed, I think, in the 90s. And they brought all these historic homes from all over the county to this one city square block in downtown. Mm-hmm. So they're full of history. I love it. They do tours. I highly recommend people go visit. They have a historic church on site in case you want to get married or have a workshop there. And there's also this restaurant called the Dolce Vita that has a bar. I know it's not coffee, but it's the coffee for nighttime.
That's right.
They have a speakeasy downstairs called the 1901. And so they do all these vintage cocktails from the 1920s. So I highly recommend Heritage Square as a visit for coffee or nighttime coffee. Yeah.
Okay, so it's downstairs in Dolce Vita restaurant, right? This speakeasy. Okay, wow. Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing. Yeah. So actually, we do have a Heritage Square here in Los Angeles as well, with a few Victorian homes gathered together, and they do lead tours here as well. So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful concept for people to see what homes looked like back then. And it was just a major preservation attempt as well for historic Victorian homes.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we modeled ours on LA's, but it's
That's great. That's great. Well, you did mention Dolce Vita, but is this your favorite restaurant in Oxnard, or there is another one?
I'll mention another one. It's on Silver Strand Beach. It's called La Janelle, and there's a very famous shipwreck, and the boat was called La Janelle. So this restaurant named themselves after the shipwreck. And on low tides, you can actually go and see the shipwreck. But this restaurant is, and I have to say, it's so vegan, but it's all vegan, super healthy. The menu was designed by this wonderful chef named Chef Mary, who used to have a place in Ventura called Mary's Secret Garden. So if you're in the know, you know, like it's such good food, but it's this hole in the wall, super cute. You can sit outside and, you know, I love it because you meet people who are walking by with their dogs and you just talk, but you can also take it to go and just walk to the beach. But it's also near Kitty Beach. And right now, all the sea lions are in town visiting for some reason. So it's just kind of fun, you know, it's a picnic on the beach or a picnic with the seals. And so I love that little spot, La Janelle.
Oh, I love this. And it's so romantic that it was named after the shipwreck.
Yeah.
Oh, and then can you imagine better company than seals, you know, for your lunch? Of course not.
Oh, they're so funny. I could look at them for hours. They're just really, really entertaining.
Yes, that's true. Okay, one more question to you. Where can you see the best sunset in Oxnard?
My favorite beach in Oxnard is Oxnard Beach Park, and it's huge. They have a pirate-themed playground for kids, which is pretty neat. But you walk over the sand dunes, and it's the biggest beach I think I've ever seen. The sand is super, super deep, you know, so there's plenty of room for people, but there's no one ever there. So it's almost like you have a private beach to yourself, and there's islands in the background. So it's just a magical setting for sunsets, and I highly recommend it. It's a well-known, best kept secret.
Oh, very nice. And it's called Oxnard Beach, you said park?
Yeah, Oxnard Beach Park.
Oh, very good. Well, Carolyn, thank you so much for sharing all this wonderful information about Oxnard.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I hope people come visit. It's a wonderful.
Absolutely. And thank you for serving the community with, being the executive director at the Oxnard Performance Arts Center. And I think so it's an amazing thing that you do for the people who live there. And I hope you'll continue working with the center for many, many more years to come.
Thank you. This has been a pleasure. And again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Oxnard. It's one of my favorite topics.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed experiencing Oxnard with my special guest, Carolyn Mullin. Please press the like button, follow, and share your feedback for the podcast. Your time and support are greatly appreciated. Next time, our meeting is in Glendale. Yes, we are going back to explore a great community in this multifaceted city. See you there.
In the mood for California, feel the soul of Old Hollywood.